Here at the Liminality Institute, asking questions.
Yay! I love questions.
Me as well. They're so powerful.
Okay. So my question is, in a time of extreme polarization on the planet, as a person who's doing spiritual work and counseling with other people, where in general we do our best to be neutral and non-judgmental, I, at this particular moment in time, have chosen quite consciously and intentionally to be polarized about certain issues of, I suppose you could say, political nature.
Sometimes it's important to take a side.
Yeah, and so that's my question. It's like, I just feel instinctively on a gut level much more comfortable being polarized on certain topics right now than just being sort of non-judgmental and tolerant of everyone. I'm sort of intolerant of some things right now. So I'm asking you your insider advice on this topic.
Well, that's a great question. I think, I don't think there is any one singular answer for that. I think the only way to really have compassion for anything is to have compassion for ourselves. And the only way to have compassion for ourselves is to honor our feelings. And when we're experiencing injustice or things that we feel are really, really wrong in the world, if we don't do something or say something, then nothing will change. And so it is very important to do that. In different cultures, like in Vietnam and in Tibet, Buddhist monks have protested by lighting themselves on fire.
Right.
And so, it's a nonverbal protest, and because they can't take a violent action in a time when there's only violent action to do, and they would light themselves on fire as a statement. Now, many people would say, does that ever make a difference? And I don't think we can ever say for sure whether it does. There are times when actually taking a stand and not being passive is the only way that things get set right. So having said that, the idea of right causes complications. And usually polarized dynamics are based off of ideas. And so those ideas tend to be inherently arcing because they're against each other. And so warriors of peace will go into those situations and try to find ways to reconcile them. Like, I wonder what Buddha would do in, for example, some of in the cities where the polarization between the police and Black Lives Matter, and it's so important that people, it's the injustice in this world. I don't think he would stand on either side yelling. Maybe he would stand in the middle in silence. But there are times when we can't be silent. I do think that if we speak from anger, it makes more anger. And that's the danger of polarization. Because we can speak against injustice from clarity, and the way that I feel that comes is that when we can separate our anger from the situation. And this is a subject that we really don't talk about in our culture because we think we are our emotions. And my experience is that we are not our feelings, that our feelings are happening in us, and our feelings are very real in the sense that they are energy, but they never really belong to us. And neither does our body, and neither do our views. And so if we bring that understanding into the energy of the polarity, it clarifies the rage and the frustration, because when we see great injustice, it's natural to feel, anger at doing, and to do something at it is very important. But if we act with rage, it often just ends up creating more. And that's where clarity is the only thing that will solve it. So I think everything is like surfing. We have to learn to ride that middle ground of balance, and the wave changes. And what's working on the wave in one point won't work in another 30 seconds. And I think points of view are very similar to that. So I think as long as we're grounding our feelings and our opinions in clarity, they tend to make a more positive difference than if they're grounded in polarity. Because ultimately, sides don't exist. They exist relatively. And when they're set up, they exist within their situation. But in a larger scale of things, those sides don't really exist. And because I always try to come from nature's point of view, I always try to see beyond the polarity of society. We live in society, and it's very important that we all do everything we can to help make it a better place. But really the only way to do that is by centering ourselves and then coming from there. And I think our emotional response is based in clarity then. So I hope that kind of answers it.
It's good.
Cool. Thank you so much, Jim.
Thank you.
It's an honor to have you here.
Likewise.